What is the Knight class? Well, the short answer is, the Knight is a melee damage dealer that specializes in supportive offensive as well as a high defensive prospect. This translates into having highest DPS in the game, whilst also providing health and damage reduction buffs with his abilities to himself and teammates. Alongside being one of the fastest farmers in the game with Knight's consistent and reliable speed buff which is hard to nullify by the environment, the Knight has the best basic attack in the game. Best consistency in speed farming, best reliable passive instilled by Overcharge Ring Polisher ability modifier. Knight seemingly is able to use Martial Emblem at all times to one-shot a group of U11 enemies, as the Knight has the best crowd control in the game. The Knight is a stronger buffer Neon Ninja which moves faster than Shadow Hunter. The Knight is the most consistent class in the game, and unlike the Neon Ninja, the Knight class is not reliant on flipping to gain a boost in speed, which in my opinion is a more pleasant experience, and unlike the Shadow Hunter, the Knight class can wipe out an entire room of enemies with one swing as I mentioned. This saves a significant amount of time as opposed to Shadow Hunter being single target oriented. Knight's body type makes the Knight experience much better opposed to other classes, making Knight feel very responsive and a total pure consistency badass speed monster. To build Knight to its full potential, a player must roll all stats on gear to movement speed. Gem-wise, the player should equip Vampirian Vanquisher, Pyro Disc, alongside Knight's class gem, Spirit Squire. I would also recommend additionally using Cubic Curtain from my experience. I would also recommend players to copy my star chart layout, as this format gives you all viable perks for the most efficient use of the Knight class. You can pause the video if you want to copy the mentioned format. To use Knight to its full potential, you should roll Overcharge on the charge ability at the Ring Polisher. This will give you a plus 25 movement speed boost, already being a better passive than what Shadow Hunter has to offer and certainly a better farmer than Boomeranger. Alongside the mentioned gems, this will make Knight a very fast class. The problem with the community is, players believe the Knight is a weak class because it is a starter class, even though the average player cannot tell what class is better when they first launch the game. The average player usually is hesitant to choose a class which is meant for beginners, on top of being distracted by other classes, which results in the community not wanting to stick to the first classes they get, as it always seems like a downgrade. This psychologically has an influence on the player's preference towards the class they will play with. Since the Knight is a starter class, it often is overlooked. This is what I refer to as the Rocket League hypothesis theory, which Trove players must be accustomed to, as a beginner car such as the Octane is better than most cars in Rocket League, being widely accepted as the best car in the game, even when here and there are some cars which have a slight edge, such as the Dominus, Formula 1 and the 2016 Batmobile. And so is the case with Knight being the best class in Trove, as proven by Trove's gameplay key performance indicators. The bottom line is the Knight class should be treated with same respect as the Excalibur frame in Warframe. Don't get me wrong, there are classes that have edges here and there, but the thing with Trove is there is an absence of a clear winning best class. This indicates that overall individual statistics don't matter that much in Trove, since the differences cannot be felt by an average player. That's why we should focus on the average performance, which encompasses all areas of the game, as well as additionally excelling in key performance areas as the Knight class does. In the case of Knight, the upwards going statistical correlation for Knight's average performance is incredible. That's why I recommend the class for everyone, as the Knight beats all classes on average and is the best class according to the official in-game statistics based on the average performance. To prove to you that Knight is the best class, I made a montage to emphasize Knight's true potential. Enjoy!
Knight, as of right now, the Knight's one of those characters that players always underestimate. They always have, even since its rework. It's actually been a pretty strong character despite the fact that it just looks so lame. And more specific, that's not a shot at Knight mains or anything like that. It's just you guys know that the Knight is the lamest he's ever been right now, because you want to see the most optimal damage you can do on the Knight. Your base attack. I'm not even kidding. There is a very big problem.
5 minutes later.
We wanted to keep the core concept of the class focusing on single target basic attacks. When Shadowhunter uses a basic attack and basic attack, not to be confused with the class gem ability. The basic attack, keeping in mind that is your basic attack. Basic attack becomes rapid fire stream of arrows, so thankfully they didn't change that.
It's using the Shadow Hunter, by the way. The Shadow Hunter is done. We've just blown away on how fast this character just feels.
Hyde is actually one of the faster ones.
Basically, out of my feedback with the Shadow Hunter, he is still way too weak. Class is just still really underperforming. It just makes the Shadow Hunter's rework look even more lackluster because suddenly he's still useless. There's other characters in the game that do substantially more damage with their base attacks. Shadow Hunter still is very, very lackluster. The majority of other classes in the game handle it so much better, and any of the physical-based characters outside of Shadow Hunter, obviously, who use melee attacks would just do swipe both the boss and the enemy is dead, rather than Shadow Hunter is still flopping around like fish out of water, dealing with the enemy that's in the way.